after watching last night. Two are not good for Oklahoma City. Number one, J-Dub, Jalen Williams, got hurt again. He's their number 2 scorer. And it's a hammy again. So the number 2 scorer for Oklahoma City will not be 100% the rest of the series. And A.J. Mitchell, young player, got hurt late, quad strain. Is he coming back? So now Oklahoma City is mostly built, deepest team in the league, to overcome injuries more than any other team. But they're going to become now very SGA reliant. A.J. Mitchell has been a great spark plug. J-Dub gives you 20 with his eyes closed. And, last night SGA delivered. But and Oklahoma City's built for it. But against the Spurs defense, it is less than ideal. That's bad. Second big issue for Oklahoma City. The only way to stop, to this point, Wemby, is to grab him, push him, pull him, hang on him, hack-a-shack. Hack-a-shack didn't work, by the way, long term. And those foul calls, they'll double on the road. You're going to get some calls at home. Last night, when Hartenstein had 3 fouls in the first half, might as well have called 8. You're not getting those calls on the road. And also, Adam Silver is not going to allow, nor should he, the face of the league or the emerging face of the league, Wemby, to be pulled, dragged, pushed. They're not going to allow that. It's crappy television. It's bad sports. And remember, this series just set an NBA record in Game 1 ratings. You're not going to let, by the way, a 7'4" guy, and we're all concerned about his health long-term anyway, you're not going to let people hang on him. No commissioner's going to do that. So for Oklahoma City, you got 2 injuries. Now you're SGA reliant, and the Wemby issue. So now, San Antonio, they may have fewer problems, but it could be a series killer. Is Stephon Castle's a great player. He is a lot of things. He's a bully defensively. He's 18 points. He's competitive. But what he isn't is a point guard. He doesn't have a tight enough handle. He's very loose. And when it comes to point guards and quarterbacks, it's all in the details. And he just is not a point guard. He's a great 2 or a 3, whatever you want to label him. I love him. We all love him. He's an ascending star. He's not a point guard.
All right, I want to keep this focused on Oklahoma City because I'll be doing separate videos. Colin is spending some time talking about San Antonio, and I'll address that. I'm going to zero in on the Thunder in this video, and then I'll put together a San Antonio Spurs video a little later. But first and foremost, let me get this out of the way. I thought nobody liked watching OKC. I thought these were 2 small market teams, blah, blah, blah. And now we're breaking ratings records. I thought we needed LeBron. I thought we needed New York. I thought we needed Los Angeles. I thought OKC was so boring and unentertaining that nobody wanted to watch them. It's weird, right? That's strange. It's kind of what they said about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tush Push, and then they smashed rating records too. So it's always funny how that works out. Speaking of ratings and views, OKC Thunder fans, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full length of the video. When you do that, views go through the roof, subscribers go through the roof. And honestly, it's not about chasing either one. It's about being able to create OKC Thunder content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss, so we can keep having the most unbiased, grounded, authentic conversations about the Oklahoma City Thunder. So please consider doing that, because it truly makes a massive difference. But yeah, this game was awesome. I loved it. I hear what Colin is saying about some of the injuries. I talk about this in the post-game clip. These hamstring issues are so difficult because they're so easily re-aggravated. You can rest up, I'm making up timelines here, say 4 weeks, and then you just slightly tweak it, and it's like hitting the reset button all over again. And it's different from a calf issue, where the problem is that if you play too soon, you could tear your Achilles or something. So it's just very tricky to navigate, very tricky to know when you can play, when you can't, what the situation really is. We see this in football all the time, and it's just difficult. Really, really, really tough. Listen, for this game plan here in Game 2, with what they were doing with Hartenstein, I talked about this a little in the post-game as well. I thought it was awesome coaching. It was absolutely intentional. I've been coached like this, and I've seen my coach tell other players exactly this: you're going to foul. You're going to be physical, physical, physical. I don't care that you're going to get fouls. I either don't care if you foul out, so be it, or I'm going to have you keep pushing the limits, and then I'll just trust your ability to play in foul trouble. But we are going to keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, because that's where the advantage lies. They easily could have called 10 fouls on him, probably even more. Only the ones we saw, but obviously only about 4 fouls were actually called. That's a net positive. That ends up being an absolute net positive. You get away with all the grabbing, tugging, and holding, and you're just wearing down Wembanyama. You could see that the San Antonio Spurs were absolutely, positively worn down. You could see the mismatch and fatigue from a mile away. And when you even talk about depth and minutes, you can see San Antonio playing guys 36, 37, 38, 38, 25 minutes, whereas Oklahoma City is at 27, 27, 38 for SGA, but then 16, 7, 25, you can see the massive mismatch. But I also agree with Colin, and Reggie Miller even talked about this, that the league is going to look at this. The referees are going to be hyper-aware of all the holding and grabbing on Wembanyama. You can get away with it in Game 2. It's not even about being at home or on the road. It's more about a lesser degree of hyper-awareness of that style of play. They're not going to allow the same approach in Game 3. I just can't see it. We've seen this throughout the years: when these types of things happen, or when a game is extremely physical and tough, the next game is always a lot less so. And then if there's a very tight whistle and everyone's saying, "Oh my God, you're blowing the whistle every 5 seconds," the next game is much looser. We saw that famously in a perfect textbook example. I think it was either 2 years ago or last year, I forget the exact timeline, with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The year that Jamal Murray threw stuff on the court, it was like every other game: TIG. HT whistle, loose whistle, tight whistle, loose whistle, as clear as day. The NBA definitely tries to balance things out. And that's what I anticipated in Game 2, I felt that's kind of what we were going to see. But I would not be surprised if we see the absolute polar opposite in Game 3. So that's something you have to be aware of. But there are times when Hartenstein gets caught fouling him and goes to the refs like, "What did I do?" And it's like, he's literally grabbing his arm and pulling him down. On that one pseudo alley-oop, he goes right to the ref saying, "I didn't do anything." Then you see the replay, and he has both hands grabbing both of Wembanyama's arms down, and you just think, come on, man. What are you talking about? And then pulling Castle's hair, the NBA does not want that. Again, Reggie Miller pointed it out, the league is going to look at this, not in the sense that they have to do something extremely intense about it, but the refs are going to be aware. The refs are going to be aware. And that's the next level of coaching now, letting everyone know the whistle is going to be tighter. Game 3, the whistle is going to be tighter. You have to be smart. You have to be smart. Don't get too wrapped up with the refs. Don't get caught up in complaining. We know the whistle is going to be tighter this time. You have to be smart. But in this game, they controlled it the whole time. The whole time. I think there were something like 13 lead changes. Either in the first half or the first quarter, I forget. But regardless of all that, OKC completely controlled the game and played their brand of basketball. They dictated the terms and conditions. They did not do that in Game 1. And that's what I thought was so insane, that San Antonio controlled that entire game. They played at their pace, they played their brand of basketball, and OKC was forced to react. In Game 2, it was the complete opposite. Exactly how it should have been. Game 1 for OKC was a wake-up call. In Game 2, they sped things up. They made things uncomfortable. They took advantage of the turnovers. They forced the turnovers. They allowed San Antonio to beat themselves in many moments, like Castle. I mean, Castle has been an absolute turnover machine. If you're OKC, you want the ball in Castle's hands all the time. I wouldn't even put pressure on him. I'd give him a little bit of space. It's like, yeah, keep dribbling, buddy. Keep dribbling, because you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake, and we're going to kind of pulsate you. Sometimes we press you, sometimes we don't. We just want you a little confused and uneasy about what we're going to do defensively, because the more uncomfortable you are, the more mistakes you'll make, and the more we'll capitalize. Sure, you might get some pretty nice dunks and some nice shots, but outside of that, go ahead, keep forcing up those shots. Keep trying to make passes you simply shall. Can't make. By all means, have at it. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Harper and Aaron Fox, etc. But in this game, you especially saw OKC's experience, their poise, their leadership, their culture. This was a great bounce-back game, because it wasn't simply that they won because they started making their shots or because SGA was on, obviously he was much better. And it wasn't that San Antonio was just a little off. No, this was a fundamentally different brand of basketball for OKC in Game 2 compared to Game 1. It was night and day. Night and day. The only thing that I wasn't crazy about with OKC was Jared McCain. Now, I'm a big fan of Jared McCain. I love that OKC got him, and he's been tearing it up. I just think he's feeling himself a little bit too much. I do not think that Jared McCain should be taking the second most shots in Game 2, down 0-1 to the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, to me, the way Caruso has been playing, what he did in Game 1 and what he was doing in Game 2, 5-4-7, 3-for-4 from 3, the fact that Jared McCain is taking more shots in this moment, and I know things got a little derailed with Williams and whatnot, but he was 4-for-14. I just can't have that from a player who hasn't even been on this team for a full season. And I know he hit some big shots and gained some momentum against Los Angeles, but it's a little too much. I said that in the post-game video I made. Someone commented, no, he's a dog. He had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and blah, blah, blah. And I said it has nothing to do with that. I'm not saying bench him. I'm not saying he shouldn't play. I want him to shoot, I want him to play. But there were too many forced shots. There were too many moments where, when he was really able to get going, you could see that he was deferring more, right? He was looking to pass more, looking to defer more, which then opened up the court, which then got him more open shots. Now you can see his mentality has changed. He's looking more to attack, attack, attack. And that's just not where he's at right now in this game. Going 4-for-14, that's a hard thing to have from a player right now. I mean, he knocks down 1 fewer 3, and the guy finishes with 9 points on 3-for-14 shooting. You can't have that. You just simply can't. Dort was shooting great, 8 points, 3-for-4. Holmgren was 5-for-10. It's not that you need to force this specific balance of shooting. It's just something that stood out to me while watching the game. It was like, this is a different style of play that Jared McCain is using right now, and it's not working. And it could be a big reason why they come up short. In this moment, this version of OKC, how they're constructed, how they've been playing, I just do not love the idea that Jared McCain is taking more shots than Caruso, who has been absolutely balling, more shots than Holmgren. It just doesn't make sense. And again, you could say he's trying to pick up some of the slack for players who are a little banged up, etc. Maybe yes and no. What about Mitchell? Mitchell only had 8 shots. It's just something to keep an eye on. It's not the worst thing. I'm not ripping him or ripping OKC. It's just that you could see a different style of play from when he was at his best in the Los Angeles series compared to where he is here. It even shows up in the plus-minus, he was +9, but Mitchell was +11, Caruso was +18. So just something to be mindful of moving forward. I'm curious to see if they pull back the reins a little going into Game 3 on the road. It'll be interesting. I'll be really interested because he's also putting the ball on the floor a lot more now, right? He's looking to drive much more, whereas earlier it was definitely just 3&D and doing the dirty work, 3-pointers, rebounds, steals, whatever you can get. Find the open look from 3, if not, look to pass. That worked beautifully in LA. So curious to see how that continues to unfold. But yeah, man, we are 1-1. 1-1. From an entertainment perspective, that's the best case scenario. Now you're going into San Antonio, tied up. It's always a brand new series after one team wins one game. Whoever wins Game 1, everyone says, oh man, this is it. This is the winner. It's over. It's done. We do this for every single series. Every single series. And then all that pressure is on Game 2, because if you're down 2 games, it's like being down 20, the conversation completely changes. If the Thunder had lost this game, it would have been, oh my gosh, the series is already over. Absolute desperation for OKC, blah, blah, blah. Now that it's 1-1, it's a brand new series. You start completely fresh. And then if OKC wins in San Antonio, Game 3, it's alright, now OKC is up 2-1. The conversations always bounce back and forth, back and forth. Game 3 is going to be really telling. I'm not going to try to think too much about the injuries and the story there, whether they play, how healthy they are, not prepared to fully digest that in this exact moment. I'm mostly curious to see Game 3. Can OKC continue to dictate the terms and conditions? That's when they're at their best, when they dictate the flow, the energy, and the speed of the game. And I'll talk about this in my San Antonio video. Can San Antonio dictate the terms and conditions at home? Can they play their brand of ball? But a big question mark is going to be the whistle. I'm telling you, the whistle and the refereeing in Game 3 is going to have an impact. We are going to get a sense of what style of play is allowed. Each game always has its own personality with the refereeing and the style of play. I know officiating is always a sensitive topic every time we talk about it in general, let alone with OKC. But there is always just a different flow to a game and a different level of whistle. And I think it's going to be as clear as day. Why that's going to be a big impact on Game 3. It's a little hard to predict in terms of what that looks like in practice and what that looks like when it's all said and done. So be on the lookout for that. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about OKC bouncing back, taking down the San Antonio Spurs 122-113, tying the series 1-1? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.